cool. And I'm going to record this as well, man, so I can make sure I get everybody a copy. But hey, everybody out there, we just went live. I know the delay is about 5 to 10 seconds, so I'm going to try to give a good 5 to 10 second introduction as I introduce our guest for tonight. I have Justin Adcock, and he's going to be talking to us tonight, man. Justin works for Worley Catastrophe. So if I, ask someone to mention the top 5 adjustment firms or adjusting firms out there, I'm sure his firm is probably going to come up. And then we have Mr. Xactimate himself, Bruce Authement, is going to chime in with us tonight. We're just going to have a general conversation, and I'm going to say to you two guys, man, first of all, thanks for tuning in. Thanks for tapping in to the network, just to kind of talk about what's going on in the field of adjusting. And then we're going to get a little bit, deeper into some of the things that Bruce has coming up with TrainPro. He has some classes that he's teaching. He and his partner, Jill, both are certified Xactimate trainers. And then I asked Justin just to tune in, man, just because I wanted to pick his brain and just kind of talk to him, just to see what's happening from his perspective about what's going on in the field of adjusting. So, guys, listen, if you see me look down or look off, I'm going to be checking just to see if anyone else is out there posting any comments or any questions or anything like that online. So just don't let me looking off distract you. I will be listening and paying attention. So first of all, man, welcome to the conversation. How you guys doing?
Doing great, Mike. Thanks for having us.
Good deal.
Yeah.
So listen, let me just kind of do some real quick general housekeeping. Everyone should know by now that we have the Independent Claim Adjuster Network Conference that's going to be taking place here in the Dallas area, and it's going to be happening December 13th through the 15th. If you go to the website, which is ICAN, adjusterconference.com, you can find out more about the conference, as well as you can find out more about the two gentlemen, the two guests that we have online. So go to the website. You can actually see the schedule that's posted on website. We have the updated schedule. So you'll find out what classes they're teaching, what sessions they're teaching. But as I've stated, man, our main focus is to help new and newer adjusters streamline their process. Because, as you guys know, man, coming into this business, sometimes people hear about the business, they jump into the business, they don't have really, any hands-on training or anything like that. So what the conference is going to do is streamline some of this information. We're going to give them some hands-on training. Then you're going to be mentored by some of the best in the business. So one guy asked, he said, well, listen, man, why should I, attend the conference? So let's start with that question, man. Let me pose this question. Let me pose it to Justin first. Justin, why should someone continue to go to a conference? Man, I'm sure you've attended hundreds of conferences, but why should someone go to a conference?
Well, just the opportunity to network, number one, is a huge advantage. You get to meet people who are in the game and at different levels of adjusting. So that's probably the biggest. And the second is just the ability to learn and to take training to further your skills and to become a better adjuster. There's a lot of different adjusting conferences out there with different levels of training and networking, and
right.
It's important to pick a good one, that kind of meets all those criteria.
Yeah. So let me say this. You mentioned different levels of adjusting. And before we get too far down the line, if you will, someone who doesn't know about you and or your company, will you tell us a little bit about yourself, how long you've been in the business and what you're doing in the business now?
Sure. Well, originally I started out about 11 years ago in adjusting. I started out as a field adjuster. I actually signed up for adjusting after Hurricane Rita back it was 2006 when I actually signed up with Worley. It was actually 2008 before I actually got called, and that was Hurricane Ike that I worked down in the Houston area. And, went out there, did my best, and put in a couple months work, and obviously I guess I did something right because I continued to work for I guess about the next 9 years, and then I finally took the step over into management, and now at this point I am a client manager, which I manage one of the larger accounts at Worley.
Okay. So now, so you say you got your license 2006, but you didn't go out into the field and do any work until 2008. Was that right?
Well, I actually didn't even get a license until 2008, which was, my downfall. I probably could have worked sooner if I actually had a license, but, they issue temporary licenses during some of these larger catastrophes. And that's when I got, initially into it when Texas did that. And then, in order to continue working, you have to have a license. So at that point, I went ahead and got my Texas license.
So now for someone who's out there and they're saying, hey, listen, I have my license. It seems like I'm just not getting called. I'm not getting the opportunity. What would you say to someone like that who's feeling kind of like that?
Well, it just takes persistence. A lot of times it takes a big storm when they call out everybody they possibly can to come and work. And, you know, at that point, it's your time to shine. You've got to go out and put in the hours and do the work. And if they have a help room set up, get in that help room, meet the different managers. And, we're constantly looking for quality adjusters. Our job is to present a consistent, quality estimate or product to our clients, the different insurance carriers, in a short amount of time. That's what they're looking for. So that's what we're looking for from the adjusters. So, as long as somebody, has a great attitude and they're able to, to do what we ask, essentially, they're kind of the sky's the limit. A lot of times we see people come in and they get burned out or they don't know what they're doing. That's not a problem if they don't know what they're doing. If they've, never had any experience at all, we can teach them how to do it. But probably one of the main things, in a big disaster is persistence and having a good attitude where they can actually, they're willing to learn and they're willing to do what it takes to succeed.
Yeah. Hey, man, good point. Because so kind of let me reiterate something else. One of the things I said I'm gonna talk to Bruce about it. I mentioned some things to Bruce in our first conversation. I'm gonna loop around with him, but one of the things I said with this conference I wanted to do was we want to give, so let me talk about Xactimate kind of briefly, right? When we're talking Xactimate, which is for the most part, in my opinion, I don't have the exact statistics, but it appears that, when you're writing claims, it seems like 90% of the industry is using Xactimate versus, Symbility. I have to get more up to speed on that other product, but I just haven't run across it. I haven't
Right.
had a need to use it or anything like that. But it's a robust program, right? And there's a lot of things to know. There's a lot of things you can learn about it. But man, if I went out on my first deployment and someone told me, man, all you need to know is just how to be laser like focused in this little box, you can be successful. Instead of breaking even, you can make some money. For some people who lost money, they could be, very efficient. They could provide a great service, for the firm, which in turn is providing a great service, to the client or the customer or the insured. Let me use the proper terms here. But what I'm saying is with this conference, man, that's what the focus is. We want to make sure that after someone leaves here, not only, will they get the networking opportunity, but when they get their next deployment or get called out, they're going to have some laser-like focus, just an idea about, oh, okay, now I know what happens when I get deployed. I know how to be successful out there. I just need to learn, what particular, what the customer or the carrier is wanting. And of course, when you guys bring everybody in, you kind of make sure that information is fine-tuned. But we want to give them a head start. So when they come into you, or whomever it is, whichever firm they're working for, they know what they're doing system-wise. They're it's not going to be any surprise for them like that. So let me come over to you, Bruce, because I know, I'm messing with you, man. I call you the Xactimate guru. But before we even get too far down there, someone who doesn't know you or know about you, Will you share with everyone, how did you get into business, how long you've been in the business, and what you're doing now?
Sure, appreciate it, Mike. Yeah, again, guys, my name's Bruce Authman. I own TrainPro along with my partner Jill Smith, and she couldn't make it here this evening because her son is getting married this weekend, and
Yeah,
so
I
she
remember
has
you
a
telling me
rehearsal dinner tonight. So she said give everybody her best, but she will be at the conference with us next week. Um, but yeah, I've been in the business for about 15 years. I kind of got in on a whim. I didn't know anything about adjusting. I had a computer networking company I owned at the time, and my brother said, "Hey, man, you need to see about this adjusting." He said that might be something you can do. He says you got a couple of employees. I'm sure you could take off a few days or a few weeks at a time if you needed to, huh? I said I probably could. Why? I said I don't know anything about adjusting. He said, "Man, you can make some good money." So that's all I needed to hear. So that piqued my interest. I went out and got my State Farm certification on a whim. Drove up to Dallas from down in Louisiana, drove up that way, got my certification for State Farm, and timing's everything. Year when I got in, there was all those hurricanes in Florida that year. They had Charlie, they had Francis, Gene, and Ivan all hit in one year, and that was my break-in point. And like Justin says, it's your time to shine when you're out that way. Uh, you, Timing's everything, and you got to be able to make that great first impression. Now, I had never seen Xactimate when I got deployed. However, I was not afraid of software because I had a computer background. And I would learn software for the clients that I was working for. My computer business, I'd have to learn that software and teach it. So I wasn't too worried about learning Xactimate. And so I just remember in that catastrophe, that very first time, our storm manager, he was going around asking everybody what their experience levels were. Well, I wasn't going to let them know I was new and afraid. So I said, man, look, I said, I got the software down pat. I'll figure it out. I said, all I need to know is how you want your estimates written, because however you want them, that's how I'm going to do it. He said, we're going to be good pals. And I made it through that storm, and I was the only new adjuster out there they asked to stick around for cleanup work. So I was
Okay.
pretty impressed, but I was tired after 6 weeks. I was like, man, I got to get back to run my computer business. I'm going to cut my winnings while I got ahead of the game here. So I bugged out, but I did something right because they used me like on 6 different events that upcoming year, different hail events and everything else, because I shined on that first one. You got to take advantage of this conference and trainings before or after the conference. You can't wait to get trained on site. Yeah, you're going to get trained by Justin. Justin be a great opportunity to teach you how a carrier specifically wants things. But you need to get this training and you need to go to these conferences in advance. If you want to make this a career, you need to be prepared. That's all there is to it. For the last 10 years before I left Worley, because I worked with Worley, and actually Justin was one of my adjusters. I loved working with Justin, and I'm proud to see that one of my guys made it up into upper management over that way. He's done good for himself. So I'll take credit for that one.
Ain't
but
nothing wrong with that.
but it's really it really is. You have got to let that manager that you're out there working for know that you are dead serious about it. You need to be prepared before you get to that event. And then
Okay,
when you're
man.
there, you listen, you pay attention to them. You need to let them see you in those help rooms, like Justin said. You don't want to be sitting in your room doing it by yourself, falling behind. And, when your managers are on site, they're willing to help you. I know Justin's like I am. I would stay out to help rooms till 2 in the morning. I'd be back at 6 a.m., 7 days a week when I'm on storm. That's how I would run. I'm sure Justin does a lot of the same stuff now. So um, just, it's a great career, but you got to make it a career. Don't make it a part-time job. If you want to be in here and be successful, plan on it being a career, which means you got to invest some money and some time and a lot of hard sweat equity to become successful.
Yeah, man, good deal. That's good wisdom. That's good wisdom. One of the things I try to share with people is, hey man, because a lot of people, of course they're hitting me with all kind of emails, and a lot of them are kind of afraid. Hey, listen, is it really the kind of conference I need to come to? And I say, listen, I can't make that decision for you. What I will tell you is a buddy of mine, Jabril. He's a go-getter in the business, man. He attends a lot of conferences, a lot of trainings. And he said, man, if you're not willing to invest in yourself, to take an opportunity or a leap of faith on yourself, then you're really not going to be successful in this business because it's so much to learn. You're always going to find something that you can learn. Once you get to a place where you can really help instruct and help teach this information, that's kind of when you're getting it and you at least have it enough, to be successful and make some moves out here. But so let me ask you this, so I'll go back to Justin. Justin, I'll pitch this on you. When it comes to a person's first event, it's my opinion, and correct me if you think I'm wrong or if you disagree, that's fine. But I think that for most new people coming into this business, their first deployment is not going to be like a total loss. It's probably not going to be anything other than a windstorm. It's probably not going to be hell for their first deployment. What are your thoughts about what type of event the first deployment is going to be?
Well, it runs the gamut.
Okay.
I believe it was 2015. We had the snow that was up in the Northeast that seemed to never leave, and you just had ice dams left and right. And actually, Bruce was my manager for that one, which, just by the way, we always called him the Xactimate guru as well. So.
Okay.
Yeah. I love Bruce and Jill both. Both had a huge impact on me, but growing as an adjuster. But you're right. I mean, typically you will see windstorms, whether it be a hurricane or a large hailstorm. But you'll occasionally see some of those winter storms that a lot of maybe seasoned adjusters don't want to go up to work just due to the conditions. So they'll call some new guys to kind of fill in the roles or fill in the spots that they need. But I guess that goes back to, you can't just simply know roofs, or you can't simply know wind. You're always going to be thrown a loop for something. And I'm still learning. There's still things that adjusters come across daily that they call me and, I'm not real sure. Let me look it up real quick. And I'm sure, any experienced adjuster feels the same way. But, starting out, wind and interior water damage is probably the biggest areas that they need to learn. But, don't be surprised if you're throwing something you've never seen before.
Okay, good, very good point. Bruce, what are your thoughts?
Now, I agree. Those are the big ones you're going to typically get called out for. But what I would say is, if you're a new adjuster, when you do put your name in with multiple companies, because don't put it in with just one company. Don't put it in with just the Worley. Now, and there's a lot of, you want to be loyal to a company, and that's great. But if you put it in with Worley, put it in with several other carriers, IA firms, and see who gets you that first opportunity. But what's most important is you have to keep your phone by your side nonstop, because when that call comes to try and send you out, if you don't answer that call, they're going on to somebody else.
Yeah.
So you don't want to miss that first call. And if you get it, don't hem and haw over it. Don't say, well, how long will I be gone? Do you think, where is it at? Let me think about it. Can I talk to my wife or can I talk to my husband? You got to be on the phone and say, yes, sir. Yes, ma'am. I'm there. You tell me when I need to be there.
Yeah.
Don't want to miss that first opportunity. Show them you're eager and willing to go. But,
hey, man, that's a good
I think
point.
your first biggest opportunity will probably be from wind. Or like Justin said, some winter storms that a lot of the seasoned adjusters are burnt out from the hurricanes, and they're like, you know what? I don't want to go up there this time of year, and I'll be prepping up for hail season. So yeah, I'll take off. So there's some opportunities in the winter storms as well.
Okay, hey, very good points. Very good points. Now I wanna kind of slide over a little bit and talk about this just kind of briefly. Again, a lot of people are hitting me up asking me different questions, and this question kind of came from a more seasoned adjuster, and it was really a recommendation. So I want to get you guys' thoughts on this. Someone who's new, wanting to get deployed in the industry, but if you go visit their social profile, man, I understand it's my Facebook page, but some of the things that they're putting on their Facebook pages will make you cringe at the thought that this guy is actually going to be out there representing my company. So, Justin, what are your thoughts about, somebody's social profile, what it looks like, and how much are firms looking at these social profiles and making decisions on whether or not they want to hire someone?
Well, I would, the adage is don't put anything out there you don't want people to see. Rings pretty true throughout every industry. people look at that stuff, and I would almost be more concerned that an insured would, look up an adjuster's name, and then they may come across some of that stuff and, report back directly to the insurance company and say, hey, this guy's running claims, or this guy was out here. I don't feel comfortable, or, look what he posted on Facebook, whatever. Just if you're a professional, you should act professional, and you should have a professional media presence, or social media presence, that is.
What are your thoughts on that one, Bruce?
Until I started my business back in June, I have never been on social media. I'm still a novice to social media, and that was the reason, because I've always thought of social media as more of I want to say a fun platform or something just for people to shoot the breeze on, and not really a work environment type thing.
Right.
And
Right.
like Justin said, personally, I don't go out there searching for Justin wanting to come work for me. I don't go search him up, but I know there are companies that do. And like just said, perfect example of being insured and not comfortable with somebody that's coming to their house, and they look up and see some stuff you've been posting on, they can easily call that insurance company and say, I don't want this guy. And guess what? You might be told by that insurance carrier, you can't work for us based on what's out there, what you're posting. So yeah, be very careful out that way. Keep it professional. Like I said, I'm a novice at Facebook. I got on it back in June when I started my business, just because I know I had to kind of get out there and get involved. And I'm glad I did, because I got a chance to meet with Mike here, and that's how I met you, was through Facebook and everything. But I would just highly warn everybody, keep your Facebook as professional as you can, because they pay you good money to be an adjuster. I mean, you make an attorney type money. I mean, you really do. And they're not going to pay you that kind of money for you to be acting like a fool out there.
Yeah, hey man, that's so true. And one of the firms that I met with here in Dallas, their HR department actually does search social profiles to kind of see what's happening with that person before they're sending them out to represent their company. So the industry is changing that way. So other than that, what other changes are y'all seeing happening in the industry right now? What just from your perspective, you guys have been in the business 11 plus years. So you've been in there long enough to kind of see what changes are happening. And let me say this, to anyone who's coming to the conference or sitting on the fence, tomorrow I'm going to have a gentleman by the name of Will Glover on. And man, I wish I was the kind of guy sometimes who would just tell all your personal business, but I'm not going to do Will like that, man. This dude is one of the greatest adjusters I've ever met. And he's going to be teaching a session at the conference about really getting to the money. How does an adjuster really make good money in the business? And he's making attorney or better type money in the business. So I'll say this, man. So we're going to have 11 plus year veterans at the conference teaching you guys. So if you are concerned with being mentored by some of the best, come out and meet some of the best. Come in and get the information that they're going to be sharing at the conference. But my question, what type of changes are y'all seeing happening in the industry right now?
I'll let you go first, Bruce.
Okay. Well, what I've seen over the years, and I know Justin can probably speak for a lot of the same, is that the carriers are really getting real time sensitive. What we'll call as a cycle time, as a lot of them refer to it for, is how long from when that claim gets assigned out to that IA firm to they assign it to that adjuster, to they make contact, to they inspect it, to turn it back in, get reviewed, and back over to that carrier. They're wanting less than 7 days. When I first got into business almost 15 years ago, it wasn't like that. I mean, you could go out and inspect, and you could take your time turning things in, and that's how everybody would do it. But now it's all about cycle times. And if you want to stay out there deployed, the carriers are going to be looking at those numbers. The IA firms you work for look at those numbers, and they want to see what your cycle times are. So the more you can be efficient and shave off your cycle time as far as making that initial contact and documenting it, making that inspection and uploading same day. You get a kickback for revisions and you make it the same day. That's what they're looking for, and they're really, really pushing on that stuff now. For the last couple of years before I left Worley, I was involved in managing roughly about 6 states on a regular daily basis of daily adjusters working claims around the country. And it was a battle every day. I hated doing that. It was the worst part of my job, but I'd have to get on these guys more and more and more about, man, cycle time. We got to get them in, got to get them in, got to get them in. And that's the big push that I've seen over the years. So that's what I have really started focusing on now, and is running everything out in the field and closing your claims on site. And I push that Xactimate mobile is what I love, and I just have gotten so efficient at it that I'm so excited about how that works and how efficient it can be. I've taught several adjusters over the past couple of months with it, and they're just knocking it out of the park now. And they call me, they text me, they email me. They're so excited about how good they are now and how they have gotten so much more efficient. Well, what that turns into is more work for them.
Yeah.
Because when it comes down to it, is that if that firm has to start making cutbacks because it's slowing down, they're going to say, hey, who turns in their work, who doesn't cause a lot of problems, and who's doing it the quickest. And that's what it comes down to. If you want to stay deployed, you got to do all of those three things right there.
So let me interject this, man. It's a great opportunity for you guys who have been wondering if you can get into a mobile Xactimate class. So Bruce, you could tell it better than me, man. You're actually taking people who want to schedule and sign up for the classes over the same week. If they want to get into any class with you, they can go to gotrainpro.com, which is Bruce's website, or you can go to icanadjusterconference.com because his schedule is out there as well for the classes that he's teaching at the conference, as well as for the classes that he's teaching that are Xactimate related, which include the mobile Xactimate class. So you have what else what other classes are you letting people sign up for?
Well, for the 2 days prior to the conference, we're going to be having an advanced Xactimate, which gives you, if you have a basic knowledge of Xactimate and you've worked maybe a storm or so with it, that would be a great class to get in there because we do the advanced and then we have a day of mobile. For the ones that are newer to adjusting and have really not worked Xactimate, or they just kind of like had no training at all and just kind of fumbled their way through it, we're going to have a 3-day training following the conference that they can sign up for that. And that one is the 3-day fundamentals and proficiency training that we do from Xactware. And pretty much when they take our classes, all the students that have taken our classes, there's 3 levels of certification you can get at Xactware, the level 1, 2, or 3 certification. 3 is the top level. Beyond there, you become trainers is the next step up if you want to be a trainer. But level 3 is the top. People that take my 3-day class, just about, I would say probably 98% of those that have taken that class at the end of the 3 days, they've passed level 2 certification. If they go out and take it, they can pass level 2. So we put on a real good efficient, we're giving you all the fundamentals that you need to understand what you need to do in Xactimate, so that when you do get that deployment out there and Justin's your manager, you can make him proud and he can say, man, this guy can knock it out the park. Let me teach him now how to go ahead and actually run that claim, make sure he gets the carrier-specific things down, but he's got that Xactimate knocked out.
Yeah, and listen, y'all, I'm gonna give you this tip. If you sign up and you tell them I can 2018, he's gonna give you $100 off the class too. So if y'all log in and go to his website, hit him up, tell him, listen, ask him, does he have a spot available for you? I can 2018 to get the $100 off. But Justin, I do want to get your perspective on this, man. What are you seeing that are the changes that are happening in the industry?
Yeah, well, there's actually a kind of an adage in business. It's called Parkinson's Law, but it says that work expands so as to fill the time available for its completion. And what that means is you give people a time frame to do a job. It's going to take the full time. Just like when you were in school, a teacher assigned, a semester, you have the whole semester to write a 10-page paper. You wait till the last day to do it, And so what we've seen, and Bruce has just mentioned it, talking about cycle times, is that when you give people 10 days to complete a claim, it takes them the full 10 days. So you've seen carriers and adjusting firms slowly close that gap to where it's 6 or 7 days. And to go back to his point that we monitor that extremely closely. We constantly run data on adjusters to see who's making contact within a certain amount of time, who's inspecting claims and uploading it the same day. And then we actually base our judgment, who gets claims on those numbers. I was talking to our dispatch unit yesterday, and I sent them a list. I said, these are our guys with the best, we call it IRTs, which is your initial return time, the time from when you get the claim until when you submit it. I said, let's get some more claims in these guys' hands rather than some of these people who are taking, longer times. And it's just it makes good business sense if they can get to it and take care of the customer sooner. It makes the customer happy. It makes the insurance company happy. And therefore we're happy. So, but then, it all goes back to being as efficient as you possibly can. There's new technologies out there. One we use is Settle Assist. And there's different programs or apps that you can use. One thing that if I was an adjuster, I'd be looking forward to is a self-driving car where, you can sit there and write up the claim while it's driving to your next one. That's, stuff like that where you're able to, maybe get in one or two more claims a day. It's all about being as efficient as possible and as much information as you can gather to make you more efficient. It makes you more deployable, and it means you're going to get more claims in the long run.
Well, man, I was in Vegas earlier this year, and I used Lyft, and Lyft actually had an option to choose a driverless car.
Huh.
Now, they did have a driver because they were still practicing it, but they did have a
Right.
driver who was just sitting behind the car, but that's all they were doing was sitting behind the car just in case something went wrong. And, man, I asked a ton of questions about that thing and elected not to go with the driverless vehicle. I'm not there yet. I'm like, I don't want to be the first person to try that out. But so listen, I want to do a couple of things here. I've asked Justin, as some of you guys just heard, man, he said that he after he got into the business and started running claims in 2008, I asked him if he'll come out, teach a couple of classes to us, because I want to ask him if he would, talk to us about how to get deployed and stay deployed. I think he's going to bring a very unique perspective about it. One, because of his length of time in the business. Two, because that's exactly what he did. And then three, because he's working for a firm that, he can share some light, with us as far as maybe what's going on in the minds of management and those types of things that they look for. So I talked to Bruce about a couple of things. He's going to talk to us along with his partner, Jill, about how to close claims quickly, because it's about making more money. So the more claims you can close, the more money you can make, but they also want to be done the right way. Bruce is going to do 2 classes. Again, man, y'all can go to the website if you want to find out what classes he's going to do. I asked Justin if he'll give us 2. I know that's one of them. But what I want to do here, man, is I want to make sure I unmute anyone who's piped into the call. I want to make sure I unmute you guys. I'm going to unmute everybody just to give you guys a quick second to chime in. So if you're on the call, if you're listening in, I've unmuted all of the, I think we got 2 people live with us. We have multiple people who are streaming with us online. But I just wanted to go ahead and unmute that just in case somebody had a question that they wanted to ask. We'll give them the opportunity to pose that question. But don't feel like you're under the gun or gonna get shot out if you don't ask a question, man. But I did want to give you guys that opportunity if you want to ask a question. So all lines are unmuted. If you want to chime in, feel free. Going in 5, 4, 3. Okay. So let me go to the website. Bruce, Kevin Deal is saying hello to you. And looks like Chablis Henry and Amanda Robinson is shouting out just to say hello, man. So we didn't have any additional questions, but any you guys listening in, man, if y'all want to type in any questions in the bottom, I've tagged Bruce and I've tagged Justin on the post. So if you ask a general question about the conference, I'll be the one to answer that. But if you ask a specific question to one of them, they will get it, and then when they're available to respond, they'll go ahead and make those responses. But in closing, what would you have to say to the people in closing?
I just hope that They
Go
all
ahead.
decide to take advantage of this opportunity out here. It's a great end of a good way to end the year. Get a little bit more training in, get it under your belt, so that start of the year, we all look forward to a good, prosperous first quarter of claims. Again, you can't get enough training, can't get enough networking in. Great opportunity with all the lineup that you have of people attending this conference that are going to be presenting. Mike, you did a great job of everybody you've lined up.
Thank you, sir.
It would be hard pressed for me to tell somebody it's not worth your time. You need to be at this conference.
Justin, what are your thoughts, man? What would you leave with the people?
Yeah, and just FYI, I think I'll do another class on investigating losses. It's one of the jobs that we have as adjusters. It's not just to go out and take pictures of the damage, but it's to figure out what is causing the damage and how to investigate that, how to figure out what's wrong, and ultimately that leads to how to properly fix it. So if that works for you, I'd love to do
Listen,
something
man,
similar.
it works for me. It works for me. One of the things I've said is, from someone who's in you all's position and what you guys do. I mean, you understand the vision of what we're doing in streamlining these adjusters so they can go ahead and come in and have a lot more success, a lot more quickly. But from your perspective, what we need, man, and if somebody's out there and they definitely need to know about investigating losses, we need to make sure that they have that skill set. So when they do get these deployments, that they're, investigating properly.
Yeah, and one thing I would say to go back to one of your main questions is how to get deployed. Of course, you can send follow up email after email to human resources or whoever at an adjusting firm saying, hey, I'm available for claims. But if you don't have any training and you've got absolutely no background, nobody's just going to send you out with 100 claims and say, here you go. If you are following up with human resources, let them know what you've done. Say, look, I took this training class, or I've ridden with, an adjuster who's a friend for 3 weeks and he's helped me out and showed me how to do it. Show that you have some initiative, that you're willing to invest in yourself, like you mentioned earlier, to further your career. And when we see that, it gives us an idea that, hey, you're for real. You're not just, unemployed and throwing out resumes left and right.
Right.
So yeah, anything you can do to further your skills or your career, people actually do look at that, and that's a big consideration whenever they decide who they want to call to deploy or to give claims to.
Yeah. So, hey, man, I appreciate that. Guys, for those people who you may be tuning into these guys for the first time, or you did not know what we're doing that I think is very different, is we've actually created a mock scenario where you're actually going to go on a 1 day or let's say a half a day at the beginning field deployment. You're actually going to be able to put your hands on some property, be able to scope some properties, be able to come back to the office where we're going to create a simulated help desk situation. So these guys who've never been out, for someone who's been out on a deployment maybe once or twice, hey, just bear with us. You used to be there, right? But for someone who's new or newer and just aren't, they're not quite comfortable with that situation, because once, Bruce starts to do his thing, or whomever is teaching, and they throw a roof aerial view on a screen and they're talking about it, we don't want someone to, who doesn't have, the vision to know, oh, I'm looking at an aerial shot, of a roof, in Xactimate or something like that. So prior to, we're going to make sure that they actually get out there, get some hands on, know how to measure, know how to scope a project, know how to write some of this stuff up, at least on a very basic level, so that everything builds upon the next step, So, and then for everybody who leaves, we're going to present them with a certificate from the I Can Adjust the conference. And for the firms that I've been talking to let them know, hey, this is why we want you to come out. We want you to see what we're doing that's differently. So someone who comes out of one of our conferences the firm can identify with what they've been through. So for someone who's trying to get a job, if they've never done it before, now they have at least some type of experience that they can connect with and that each party can identify with to say, okay, we know you at least on a very, introductory level can get started down the field. And then when they're working for you, Justin, you can come along and help them out and fill in the blanks. It just makes your job a lot simpler as well. So again, man, thank you guys. Everybody who's tuned in, we're going to keep this live stream up so you can kind of, view it at your leisure. And I'm going to keep their information posted. And lastly, again, go to the website, check out the schedule. And if you haven't signed up yet, for those of you who have kind of been debating and sitting on the fence, we invite you guys to come out Wednesday night for our pre-conference mixer and networking event. Come on out. That's absolutely free. That's going to be at the Renaissance Hotel, Addison, or Dallas Addison is what they call it. So, but again, look it up on the website, man. Thank you guys. Appreciate your time. And everybody else, man, post your questions at the bottom. We'll get back with you.
All right. Thanks, Mike. Thanks for
Justin. Good talking to you. See you guys next week.